All right, guys, welcome back to Always Moving Forward. We've had such an amazing week. We've had some, really just some amazing people that's been on the show this week. We had Pooja Mahindra and Michael McClone. We've had Jason Jones, Bobby Washington. And we still have a lot of great shows coming up. As you guys seen on my Facebook. Next week, I'll be teaming up with the Veracruz show. That's Anastasia Veracruz, who is doing a YouTube show in Australia. So she and I are going to team up, and we're going to kind of interview each other, I guess. And so we're going to combine our shows. So that's going to be really an awesome event for us. So you'll get to see two shows from two different continents going on one time. So. And then, remember just to hit subscribe, like, share, comment, help us get this show to, our 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for, everybody who's already jumped in and become a subscriber. We appreciate it. The show is growing and we don't want you guys to miss out on, all the awesome stuff that's coming up. So now with that said, my guest today is Jonathan Montes. And Jonathan Montes is an actor. He has been in several different films out there in Florida doing, he's part of the group with, Heather Fraley and Chris D. Roberts and, some of the other guys that we interviewed. And this guy has been everywhere. So I'm really, really excited about bringing him in and, talking to him about, all the stuff he's been doing. So I'm going to bring John in. How's it going, John?
Hey, everything's going well. Thank you for having me here.
And, thank you for being on the show, man.
Nah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being here, and I was looking forward to this. So
cool. It's funny because I first interviewed Chris D. Roberts.
Yes.
I ran into Chris on IMDb, and became friends with Chris. Awesome guy. I mean, just incredible guy. So, and then I just, from, meeting Chris, I just ran into this huge community out there, with you guys, with Heather Fraley and, Jason Jones.
You mentioned Bobby Washington too.
Yeah, Bobby Washington. Yeah, Bobby Washington, I just interviewed him a couple of days ago. So, yeah, that was great. So, now I get to interview you. And you've been, it looks like you're like, one of the, instrumental actors in a lot of the movies out there. So, I'm pretty excited about, bringing you on and getting to know you and, sharing your story with my audience. So, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to jump into it. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born and raised, and what was life like growing up? As Jonathan before doing the movies and
No, of course. So I'm from Puerto Rico. So I was born in back in Puerto Rico in 1987. I mean, growing up, I can say it was kind of like a normal childhood. I was one that I was maybe more introvert growing up. I didn't have that many close friends growing up, so I was kind of like more into playing video games and even playing by myself. Like I could be kind of like in a corner just playing by myself, thinking like I thought this I told this to a friend of mine, like I thought I was a Power Ranger and I was fighting my own shadow just for the sakes of it, but I was trying to have fun all the time, just trying to find something to do. But it was I was a normal childhood. My mother was the one who raised me by herself. I graduated high school in 2005 and did my bachelor's in computer science and my master's in information security and fraud investigation. So in 2014, that's when I decided to jump over from Puerto Rico to Florida. And because I got a professional opportunity within the IT industry. And, I just came here and like, I don't regret it. I've been ever since here. And after that, it has been just a lot of doors opening professionally on the IT side and as an actor as well. Because that when I moved here, that's when I started pursuing acting. It has been just kind of like a road full of blessings, and I honestly can't complain about it.
Cool. You know, it's a kind of weird. Well, I would say weird, but odd. That, you know, you grew up like you know, a kind of like a loner. You know, like an introvert, where you were you know used to being around a lot of kids, and now I mean, just being an actor, you're like everywhere. You're you know on a set full of people. Yeah.
And it's incredible how one changes because I I consider myself now a social butterfly. Like I will go
Right.
to everyone. I'm just saying hi. I will go to you. Gonna give you a hug. It's like, hey, good to see you. That's how I am now.
Right.
But I kind of like started getting loose when
Right.
probably after I got into acting.
Okay.
But growing up, I was, and not necessarily that I was a loner, but
Right.
I didn't have maybe like I didn't have kind of like a close friend or someone that I can kind of like
Right.
trust. Like you can say, like I can trust this person like 100%.
Right.
Uh, I didn't have that. I had close friends, but
Right.
not necessarily like my like a best friend.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
and I think that kind of like made me a little bit of more of a, I need to do things by my own, whatever. Like growing up, I
Right.
was more introvert. That's why I say that.
Right.
But like now, I'm just kind of like, you know what? Like, see you. Hey,
Right.
like come here.
So, now do you? So you came from Puerto Rico to
Yes.
Florida,
Hmm.
and you were more into the IT field.
Yeah. I'm
Was it
still on. I'm
you
still on.
still, you still
Oh yeah.
you do? So you do security?
No, right now I work as an IT analyst for a healthcare company.
Oh, okay.
And the good thing about them is that they actually, they know about me pursuing acting.
Right.
uh, and they support it. So
Right.
I have the trust to go to my manager and to my peeps and say like, hey, maybe this day I may need like 2 hours like in between the week, because like I may need to do something, but
Right.
I will say with advance, and then but I'll be responsible, and I'll in the afternoon or in the
Right.
evening I'm gonna go and complete my work. So they have given me that trust because I earned that, and
Right.
like that relationship is great because it helps me as well following as well my dream.
Right. So let me ask you: do you know coming in, you know, from IT?
Mhm.
Um, do you remember the moment that you started thinking, "Hey, I want to get into acting"? It was there. What kind of drew you to that?
I'm still trying to figure it out because
Mhm.
I mean, like I told you at the beginning, like growing up, like I used to kind of like play by myself, or like if
Right.
I had kind of like a friend over or a cousin, like we will kind of like play, as kids do.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so and for me now that I see it, like I was acting. I mean, I was believing that I was a character and doing something,
Right.
my with my imaginary friend or whatever.
Right.
And so, but that's something that I've actually always liked. I just never had I would say not the drive, but maybe like I wasn't necessarily ready to give that step. Like I
Right.
never felt comfortable, like in my own skin. Like for example, like was I gonna make it? Do I look good enough to be like on camera?
Right.
Uh, I mean, will I? I mean, I don't know anyone in the industry. Like, how the heck am I gonna do that first step? So there was a lot of doubts
Right.
and like, questioning myself to that I never kind of like tried it.
Right.
And growing up in Puerto Rico also is a little bit more, it's more difficult.
Mhm.
It wasn't, I mean, back then, it's not like today that we have Facebook and you go there and you have 30, 50, 100 groups on Facebook
Right.
related to acting within your area, and you
Right.
can find casting calls there for free. Back then you didn't have that. um, so it was a little bit more challenging trying to connect with people.
Right.
And obviously my mindset back then wasn't necessarily the same one as now. So now I'm
Right.
more, I want to put myself out there, while back then it was like I don't want to be out there. I don't want them to see me like
Right.
I'm not good enough for me to do that. So
Right. Right.
but it's just growth and and it was all about making a decision.
Okay. Do you remember like the moment you decided that that's kind of the direction you wanted to go? Is
Oh,
acting
yeah.
did it start in Puerto Rico and then just became more accessible? When you got to Florida, or did it
So,
happen
so,
like
no,
when you got to Florida?
so I was actually already here in Florida. So
Okay.
in Puerto Rico, I just kind of like focus a lot on finishing my studies, kind of like getting my professional work in IT.
Right.
Um, when I moved here, I came with kind of like the same mentality. I was kind of like still trying to grow within the IT profession. Um, but it was on I started thinking about it in 2017, but I really didn't do anything until 2018. That's when I kind of like decided, like, hey, like I need to stop, stop being afraid, stop putting so many excuses or having so many complaints about myself, and just try it out. Like, what's the worst that can happen? That I continue like I am right now, then okay, by all means, I'll take it. Um, in the past, I had already done a little bit of music, which I did in Puerto Rico as a hobby. Um, so I've always liked the arts, and the I think at that moment in 2018 when I said, like, what, like I really want to do this. I don't know if I feel comfortable for me to be on screen yet, but I need to try and see what happens. Like, the worst that can happen is I'm gonna get a no, and that's it.
Right.
But so I just I took a step, and from there it's just been blessing after blessing.
Cool. So when you finally decided, this is the stuff you're going to do, kind of walks through that process. Did you um, go find an audition somewhere? Decide you're going to try it out? Did you start off as like Christy Roberts? He said he just would just show up on set, even if he didn't have a line. He would just as an extra. I mean, is that kind of how things evolved, or I mean, what was it like? What was that process like for you?
I think for each person is different, because I remember when I met Chris. I mean, he
Mhm.
we were on an audition, and this was pretty much after COVID,
Yeah.
and so that's when we actually met in person. And
Right.
like, he was pretty much starting. I think he had done maybe like one or two things, so he was
Right.
trying to kind of like get used to the like doing things within the acting. And like, he was amazing, an amazing person to talk to.
Right.
um, for me, since I actually started before COVID, so I
Right.
actually went to I found an acting school.
Okay.
Um, Unfortunately, it wasn't necessarily what I expected,
Mm.
but I did learn at least the basics of what I needed to do on my own to actually go out there and and find something.
Right.
Um, and my first acting opportunity didn't came until 2019.
Okay.
So it took me a while to put myself out there.
Right.
But it was an online audition, and it was as an extra. But when I talking to the director, which is good friends of mine, his name is Michael Kenneth Farr.
Okay.
um, we ended up my role ended up growing from an extra to actually a small supporting and having my own death scene.
Oh wow.
So that was my very first project, and my character got his throat sliced,
Oh wow.
and like on a kitchen, and I had to kind of like fall down to the floor. So we did that. I don't even remember how many times, but I was kind of like falling and falling, and I was excited about that. The
Right.
next day, I woke up with a swollen knee, and I was like,
Uh,
this is the best pain I've ever had.
right. Right.
um and honestly, like, since from there,
Right.
and I've connected with so many people, so many auditions, so many projects. um Most of them, I want to say like 98% of them have been online.
Uh-huh.
um and I think my first audition, like in-person audition, was the same one that was where I met Robert.
Okay.
Like, after like 2 years already doing this, and to be honest, that was terrifying for me, because it
Oh,
was a new experience.
right.
But like terrifying in a good way, and it was a blast. So it's just, like I said, blessing after blessing.
Right. And you've done several different films since then. So
Yeah.
let me ask you, what's um I'm trying to figure out the right words to say this to word this.
Throw
So
it at, throw it.
so
Throw me.
there's the actor. So you've done a lot of films, right? And you
Yes.
guys do them back to back. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's when I look, you guys, once one film's done, it's like almost the next weekend you guys are in another film. Yeah. Um,
This week I was doing four of them.
but you guys are like all over the place. You know what I mean? Every time I see you guys. So what's your process of memorizing the lines? Like I watched Hot Ones. I don't know if you know the show
Mhm.
where these guys eat hot wings and they he asked questions. But Tom Holland was on there,
Yeah.
and Tom Holland said that he doesn't memorize his lines until the day of the shooting. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine doing that. And but as as many films as you guys do, back to back. Kind of what's your process? How do you memorize your lines, and how do what's your process?
So for me it depends. So if it is kind of, if I know that I have so many lines that
Right.
I'm usually a person that wake up around 5 a.m. To
Mhm.
kind of like go do some cardio at the gym. So
Right.
while I'm doing that, I'm actually with a script. I'm kind of like going reading lines with a little bit of music and reading lines. That's kind of like my process in the mornings. Um, However, weeks like this past week that I was involved in four different projects, which I'm gonna tell you a little bit later about them. Um, it becomes more like, like he said, like you usually end up rehearsing and practicing the lines the same day or the night before the shooting. um Not necessarily, at least, and let me clarify this, I've been blessed to work with people that you know we follow the script. However, they have been flexible enough to allow us some liberty when it comes, well, some freedom, sorry, some freedom when it comes down to, to certain words that we can probably use to make it more our own. um I know that there are certain directors that they prefer, the script being respected 100% of it. So obviously for those, we got to make sure that we learn the lines as it was written. But in my case, most of them have given me kind of like freedom, and I don't deviate from the script. Um, but like if there's a word or something that I may change just because I think it sounds more me, or I feel it sounds more personal, I usually will go like that. But obviously, always I will talk to the director and kind of like let them know, like, hey, I feel like maybe saying this, is this okay? Usually they will say yes. um but yeah, I mean, it due to the amount of projects, so sometimes it becomes, um you have to practice the same day, or
Right.
even the same project is let's say like you're working on a feature film,
Right.
which is obviously you're multiple days working on that. You end up kind of like having just maybe 1 or 2 days to rehearse for one
So,
one specific day of shooting, which could involve 1, 2, 3, 4 scenes.
right. And that's the other thing too is that these the way that the directors and these producers are doing them, they're cranking these movies out, the scenes out like shoot in 1 or 2 days,
Yeah.
and then I'm looking at I look at the post they put up there, and they're like, yeah, we filmed today, and we wrapped up the whole film in like one day. I'm like, yeah, this is crazy. That's a ton of work, putting a film together like that.
Oh yeah, even for a short film can take you easily 12 hours, and that's kind of like
Right,
that's one day. I mean, you can start probably like around 1 p.m. and end up at 1 a.m. just
right.
shooting a short film, maybe like of 6 pages,
Wow.
because you want to have, the directors wants to have the different angles, making sure they have, a kind of like uh, a wide shoot of like everything that's happening, and then go to close-ups. Okay, I want to make sure
Right,
that I'm getting this person's expressions. I want to make sure that I have the other person's expressions. Maybe kind of like a more tight shot. So it depends on the vision of the director. That there's
right,
people that work with, that are kind of like one shot. I
right,
got it. Move on. There's others that they want five different ones because they want to have different options, variety. So it kind of like all depends.
right. So, let me ask you what's the biggest thing that you've learned because you've done several of these movies. What's the biggest takeaway that you've learned that you would um, share with the audience? That somebody who's just getting involved in acting.
don't be afraid to ask. Uh, Make sure that you feel confident to kind of like ask, even that what people may think is a silly question or something. Just make sure that you feel confident enough to ask. Reach out, communicate with people, connect with them, network. I think the biggest asset in the film industry is the people, and connecting with them may get you to different, you know, connecting with different directors, different other actors and actresses. Maybe you don't get a specific like a specific role with a director, but maybe that director sees you for something in the future, so you kind of like want to let that door open. So I think the people is the biggest asset in the industry, and you just gotta uh, communicate, feel confident, ask questions, reach out, even if it is just to say hello. I hopefully I can work with you in a new future. Connecting with people, I think that's the most important thing that I can tell the audience.
And that kind of leads me to some of the other people I've talked to is that the like your guys' community is such a close knit community,
Yeah.
and when I first started this, we were talking, and a lot of new actors, they get discouraged when they don't get a particular role.
Yeah.
And I talked to Tony Taylor about this. Tony said that the problem is that some of them, they end up having attitude, if they don't get a role. And he said that because the acting community is so tight knit, that ends up hurting you in the long run, because then it hurts you from being able to get a future role. And then the second thing is you can't take it personal. That's the other thing he said too, is that if you don't get a role, you can't take that personal, because the director, or the producer, when they're doing this film, they've kind of already have an idea of what that character is going to look like, and you may be a great actor, but you just don't fit that role. You know what I mean? But walk away with with a positive attitude, and like you said, learn, ask questions, you know, um, and absorb, what's going on around you. If you're lucky enough to be on the set, absorb the different aspects,
Yeah.
um, so that later, in the next movie, they may bring you back in.
Yeah. And this is something that I say, like, you get you get 50 no's, and you
Right,
get two yes. Focus on the yes.
right,
You don't need to focus on the no's. On the note, you only have to say thank you, and I hope I can work with you in the future. Maybe
right,
they're saying no, and it's not because you don't have talent or you can't do the role. Simply,
right,
maybe it's because you don't have the look that they're searching for.
right.
um for me, like, for example, just to give you I have been told no because of my accent. And you know what, like, I respect that, because if they're not looking for somebody, they want kind of like a neutral accent or something, and if I didn't deliver that in the audition, or maybe I kind of like assume it wasn't needed, I may lose the role. And you know what, that's fine, I give it my shot, but I will still leave the door open, like, hey, thank you very much, hopefully we can work in the future. And actually that has happened. Like, I've been involved in projects where I got a no first for one role, but I still got another role. And you know what, that's still, for me, that's still a win, because I'm still able to kind of like go show what I can do, and maybe like in the future I can get a better role with that same director.
And then, like, you've done how many films have you already done?
um from and I had it here open, I think, uh based on IMDb,
Right,
38. But I
38.
know, based on IMDb, but I have done more. I will say like I'm close to 50.
Oh wow.
But some of them they haven't given any IMDb credits. Kind of like it
Oh
was maybe
yeah.
kind of like a school project or something. But in total is almost, I will say, like 48 projects in total
Oh
since I
wow.
started.
Okay. And how long? You said since like 2019.
2019 was my first project, which was the one that I told you about.
Right.
Then on 2020, I believe I did three, because it was when COVID hit. So
Right.
like things were kind of like a little small. So I actually got, I believe it was like three or four. Pretty much all the rest have been between 2021 and this
Oh
year.
wow. Wow. That's crazy. That's a lot. So,
Yeah.
now how many of those are actual movies? You know, like you have different projects, but how many of those are actual?
Um, I'm because I actually have here. I will definitely more than 10, like around 10 probably are somehow feature films, but
Okay.
most of them have been uh short films,
Okay. Yeah.
or maybe like an episode of like an episode for a web series or something like that.
Right.
But m- all of them have been between films, feature films, short films, um, series, and I actually got one that was actually on TV.
Oh, wow.
Uh, uh, the show is called Big Restaurant Bet.
Okay.
Uh, that was a show that was transmitted on the Food Network. On one of the shows, they actually invited actors to kind of like play create a scenario for the competing chefs. So
Okay.
they kind of like wanted to throw situations
Right.
to see how they will react. And I got paired with an amazing actress. Her name is Dina Mary, from I believe she's located in Fort Myers. And they told us, you're gonna be a dramatic couple.
Oh, wow.
You're a Karen. You're the husband.
Right.
Create a scenario and sell it.
Oh, wow.
And it was a lot of improvisation that day, but it was so much fun, and it actually we managed to be like on TV
Oh,
on
cool.
Food Network. So
Right.
um, that was an experience. That was an
Cool.
experience. Yeah.
Cool. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the projects that you've currently worked on, and then I'm going to, why don't you tell me? We're going to talk about one in particular that you're working on. And I'm pretty sure you know which one that is.
Which one?
Seven Roses.
Seven Roses. You want me to
What
start
part?
there?
Well, go ahead and tell me about some of the ones that you've already worked on, and then we're going to talk about your role on Seven Roses.
Okay. So I think one of the big one that I can start talking about, and it's probably one of my favorite roles,
Mhm.
has been The Only Good Thing.
Okay.
That's that's a project that is directed by Carlos Rivera. He lives in the West Palm Beach area. An amazing director with even bigger vision, and that was actually my has been my only role that was fully in Spanish. It is a short film. It's currently on film festivals, and on set I met this actress called Iris Perez, um, and talking to her, the vibe was amazing. And our story was pretty much we were having kind of like an argument because our son saw her with drugs and she kind of like overdosed. So our kind of like our main scene was kind of like arguing, like me confronting her because I found her with that, and our son saw her. And I talked to her and I told her like, hey, I really want to sell this scene like like a real couple will be on each other's faces. How comfortable are you with that? And her words were, let's do it. And the scene came out so beautifully. um we fed off each other's energy. And I can say that probably that has been one of my favorite projects that I've been involved so far. And I heard from the director that it is probably gonna be available to watch soon, probably like beginning of next year, after it finished its run on currently on some festivals. So I'm excited to actually share that one out to people because some of it is in Spanish, but he actually went above and beyond and actually put subtitles on the film so everyone can watch it. Um, I think that's one of my favorite ones so far. Um, Let me see other one. Hunter's Cabin. That's one that's currently in post production. The director is Joe Fame. Um, the is a horror film that we filmed back in January this year, and we actually he actually rented a cabin, and the location was creepy. I mean, it was like at night. It was pitch black. Um, it was during that week where temperatures go down to like 30 degrees, and the kill scenes were amazing. We had an amazing SFX makeup artist. Her name is Athena. uh, she was a 14-year-old amazing. Um, the whole cast itself, like Tony Pales, Michaela Caine, Ariel Frey, Kayla Washington, Alexei Sisk. I mean, we had such great energy, and again, we filmed a feature film in 4 days on a cabin and one more day on a different location. Like we filmed a full film, and I'm just excited. It should come out at some point this year, so we're just waiting to hear the date so we can share it out to the public. Um,
You said that the special effects was
14-year old.
14 years old. Wow.
Yes. Yeah, but she has, she has the support of her mother. Her
Right.
name is Jess, and when they're on set, she, she is a beast doing
Oh.
what she does. Uh, she has killed me four times this year already. So,
Oh.
so,
Wow.
but that first one was amazing because I get tortured, and she actually went above and beyond making all those effects, and like it's. I've actually shared some pictures of the makeup that she did on social media,
Right.
and like it looks real. That's
Oh,
kind of like
wow.
what sells it. It just the how real it looks, and again, 14 years old, and she's extremely talented.
Wow. And that's the other thing too. It seems like a lot of the cast that you guys work with, you guys just have that great chemistry together. Is that because you guys are friends, ahead of time, or or is some of these guys, I guess you don't meet till the day of filming.
Yep.
So I mean, for you guys to come together and you know and then become such good friends afterwards, because it seems like that community's growing. I just keep seeing more and more of these actors and actresses coming in. So what's it like for you as an
For,
actor out there?
well, right now, I always, at least on a film, I always at least know someone at
Right.
this point.
Right.
But at some point, like when I was kind of like getting meeting, like starting new, like I was
Right.
meeting new people pretty much on every set.
Right.
Um, from the moment that we filmed Hunter's Cabin at the beginning of this year,
Right.
uh, I will say like 75% of the people involved, I had already worked with them on a different project.
Wow.
So it was kind of like fun to kind of like get them all together, and we were kind of like, okay, everyone that I knew plus
Right.
new people that I met on set,
Right.
like the energy was amazing. Like, because we had long hours, not gonna lie,
Right.
that film, it was long hours, day and night. And it, it we kind of like become family there, like after after set, like after we're done filming, like
Right.
we keep in touch, like we're kind of like on top of everyone, like, hey, if I see somebody getting a role, I'm happy for you, same way with
Right.
me. um if it is, sometimes I'm competing for the same role as one of
Right.
them, and you know
Right.
what, there's no negativity. Like if I get it, I know that person is going to come to me and say, hey man, congrats, you did it, or vice versa. So
Right.
that's how the community is for the most part, at least here in Tampa Bay and Central Florida. Like I can say Tampa Bay, Central Florida, we're kind of like working together across many different films.
Right. Cool. So what are some of the films that you're currently working on?
Currently working on, yeah, and I know you were waiting for that one, Seven
Yes.
Roses with Bobby Washington.
Right.
Yeah, he actually gave me the opportunity to be one of the lead detectives on the film. um, and it was funny, that one, because I had not met Bobby until pretty much until filming. So uh, he actually called me. Um, okay, this is funny. I was actually on my way to travel to California because of my day job. So of my IT job. So I was gonna be 1 week in California for team meetings, and then while on the airport, he calls me because I had applied to, kind of like, I was interested in auditioning, and he calls me and tells me like, hey, like I want to see if you're available to audition something, and I tell like, hey, I'm on the airport. So like, can you give me time till I get to California? And he's like, no, because man, like I need to get down this detective role. Like I really need to get it like in an hour or something. Like he was like rushing, like he wanted somebody for the role now. And I'm looking around, and like how society is right now, that everyone is glued to their phones. the airport was in complete silence. So it's like, you know what, let's do it now. Like, I'm here just about to board, but if you give me 5 minutes, I'll do it. And that's how it was. Like, we did the audition. I did it on the airport, and thankfully he liked what I did, and I got the role. And I think so far we've filmed like about 70% of the film. I think we're just kind of like just a few more days of filming, and you've probably seen some of the pictures that I've shared, some of the stills that he actually managed to share with us, and the quality of the image, the story, like everything, it's just beyond any of my expectations. Like, working with Bobby has been amazing, and he's an amazing human being as well. So much respect to him.
Yeah, and here and I talked about the film itself and kind of the premise behind it, and um, I mean, I'm excited to see the film. Yeah, and so he plays one of the detectives. You play the other detective.
Yes.
Um, and then Rex is the serial killer.
Yes.
He told me that the premise of the serial killer is that there's no there's no mo. So you guys are chasing this guy who's just randomly killing people named Rose. And even the way he kills them is even the same. Yeah.
Yes, there is a reason.
Uh-huh.
There is an explanation that is eventually revealed within the film.
Right.
I can't spoil it yet, but there is a specific reason to why he does that.
Right. I think Bobby told us too. So, but I want people to see this film, so I'm not going to spoil it either. um, so, yeah. So, what has that been like? I mean, that right there. I think I would like to see that one be sent to like Netflix and be like a Netflix series. You know what I mean?
He actually, I mean, he has the equipment. He has the
Right.
equipment to actually make it there. Like at
Right.
least all the specifics that kind of like Netflix require for like a film. He
Right.
has the equipment. So I mean, we're just making sure that everything comes out good, and hopefully as well the acting from the different actors that we're able to deliver to the point that Netflix actually will want it. So
Right.
that's kind of like our main goal right now, because the equipment is there. It's just making sure that we do our job now.
Yeah, and he seems the way that he does his filming. He talked about the just the different aspects. The lighting, the sound, the quality of the film. He said that one of the things that he does is that he'll turn the volume down and just look at the lighting and just make sure the lighting's good. Sometimes he'll just look, just listen to the sound itself. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, he's put a lot of work in that thing. And so, anyways, I just think I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what you guys have done with that.
Yeah, he has this phrase that he says a lot on set when he's
Mhm.
kind of like he gets in his zone, and like you see him, like he's putting lights, he's trying to kind of like set everything before filming. Like he has this phrase like, now he's sexy, or now she's sexy, but it's
Right.
because he's trying to find that good lighting for like for the shoot, like
Yeah.
the different angles, and like you see like the different images that I have shared from the
Right.
film.
Right.
They look amazing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just it's a really good, very high quality project that he is doing. And
Very professional. Yeah.
yes, just and being the fact that this is probably my, I want to say, like my main lead role on a feature film. This
Right.
is kind of like a big deal for me, because it's kind of like my very first huge opportunity. I've
Right.
I've had lead roles on other projects like Hunter's Cabin,
Right.
The Only Good Thing, Harlow's Hunt, which I didn't talk about yet. So I've had lead roles, but
Right.
one that maybe is kind of like demanding in terms of like the time and like things that I need to do as an actor has
Right.
probably been Seven Roses.
Wow. And and it just looks like you guys have had a lot of fun. The other thing I like about it too is that every rose, every scene is so different. Like uh, the actors, um, the scenery itself is so different from each other that you know that's why I kind of see it like almost as a mini series.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, and the quantity of amazing actors that have been involved in the project itself.
right,
It's really amazing because like people from from all over Tampa Bay and Central Florida,
right,
and there's a lot of people involved in this project that even the smallest role,
right,
they have a line somewhere like Bobby has been like very detailed in kind of like giving people uh, at least something to say within the
right,
project. Like he really wants it. It's not just people walking around and that's it. Like they
right,
all had some sort of importance in the story, and I think that's what makes it more more. It has more sentimental value because like he's like even the smallest role has a big significance on the story.
right. I think he told me that he said that when that he appreciates the actors that come out, and um, that's why he gives them a line. You know what I mean? Is that they're coming out to do something to help him, and so he wants to give them, like a speaking role that kind of
Well,
helps them as well. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So yeah,
and I think there's actually over if I recall correctly, I think there are over 50 cast members right now on IMDb for this project. I don't know if everyone is already there, but I know for a fact that there's over 50 cast members in the project itself.
right, and that's I think this has to do with because of this. It's not the same actors, except for you and Bobby, because you guys are consistent throughout because you guys are the detectives. Well, and of course it's
Correct.
the serial killer, but um, because every rose is a different scene. I mean, it has their own set of actors.
Correct.
So so I just the way he did that, I think is really cool. So so what is so what's some of the other shows that you have coming up?
So there's one that I forgot to mention that I was already part of as well, which is Harlow's Hunt, and this is by director Terry Jarrell. It's kind of like a drama thriller with some horror elements on it. We should be expecting to see it premiere in October. So that's gonna be really exciting. That John Duggan from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is in the film as well. Meeting him in person and like having the opportunity to talk to him, that was kind of like that was an experience on itself. A very humble human being. An amazing cast as well. Like I met, I will say, like on that project this year, it was probably the one that had the most people that I didn't know. I only knew two people from the cast uh, when the project started. So that was kind of like going back to my roots, like the first few projects where I didn't knew anyone. But like I had the opportunity to bond with these actors and actresses, and they are all super talented. Like if you go to IMDb, you can see all of them: Amy, Christine Brell, Dylan, um, Crystal, Heather Fraley, which is as well on the movie, John Duggan, um, John Masiag. I mean, there's a lot of talented actors there. That that I'm pretty sure the story is gonna be a bang when it comes out. And there was another horror film called Parsh 3 Beast, by director Joe Leone. He actually is from New York and he came down to Florida to shoot it. And he was here like for around 2 weeks, 3 weeks during March. It's kind of like you remember the Blair, kind of like I think the Blair Witch Project, which is kind of like the main character usually is holding the camera around. So it's kind of like that type of film. So I was playing the best friend of the main character. So it was kind of like a different character for me. Like it was kind of like more of the comedy relief, funny friend. So very exciting, and we're hoping as well that it comes out at some point by the end of this year.
Okay, cool. So now the other thing I was going to ask you is, and I asked this of all my actors, is there a particular role or
Mhm.
person or show that you would love to portray?
Well, you see the characters that my shirt has on right now.
Superheroes. Let's
I mean, that's
be
that's
in a Marvel comic.
that's one that I will definitely love to be part of. So that's kind of like probably one of the dreams.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
so you want to be a Marvel comic superhero?
I mean, if possible, I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? I mean, right
Hey,
now, I think Bad Bunny, he's about to be a superhero in the Marvel universe, so he actually made it. So, I mean,
right.
yeah, I
And
mean,
they're always bringing
that
out new
opened the door
characters, though,
for many new things.
right? And Marvel Comics always bringing out new superheroes, so that's
Oh yeah,
it's a possibility. So yeah, that's awesome. It's
oh yeah,
awesome.
no, but as, as with kind of like other actors, like I'm a big fan of how Leonardo DiCaprio, like the way he performs the different, so many different acting roles. Like
Cool.
he's someone that I actually look up to in terms of like expressions and nailing those different roles that he can go from being the bad guy to kind of like the
Right.
sweetest man on earth. Like
Right.
I actually like those type of roles. I'm really passionate about drama, horror, and kind of action projects. Those are kind of
Right.
like the three main ones that I like, that I like the most.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, the more that you're getting out there, and the more films that and like I
Yep.
said with the Seven Roses, I hope that the Seven Roses goes mainstream where people can actually enjoy it, and that would actually help you a lot to get you more exposure, which I'd love to see. I'd love to see you get some more exposure and get into some some of these bigger roles on these movies and television where people get to actually see your talent, get to see you for what you're doing. So
No,
um,
that'll be an amazing opportunity. Like recently, I was part of the like I told you at the beginning that I was involved in kind of like 4 projects this past week. One of
right,
them being Seven Roses, but
right,
the other three uh, are part of a local group competition. They can like do a competition every quarter, every trimester. They're
right.
called the Orlando Independent Filmmakers,
Okay,
and they kind of like do these challenges, and they kind of like allow directors, writers to kind of like submit their shorts. They should have
right,
a time limit, and they have kind of like a specific theme.
right.
And this group, I've been on it like for over 2 years,
Oh, wow.
and this is actually the first time that I'm able to be on short films that are gonna be part of the challenge.
Oh,
And
okay, cool.
if they get selected, they
Mhm.
they 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 actually go to an AMC theater, and they kind of like show them there, and they give awards to best actors, best directors.
Right,
Um, so this is kind of like something new because uh, you know I'm gonna be putting myself out there to different people that I haven't had the opportunity to work with,
right,
and it was very difficult to get a role on one of the OIF challenges. So like I actually got three out of nowhere, like from never doing one, I
wow,
actually got three. So and
wow.
three amazing stories. I gotta tell you that the theme this time is kind of like horror sci-fi.
Right,
Uh, I got three amazing stories. One of them titled Wool Gathering by director Joe Fain, the same from Hunter's Cabin. Um, the other one is titled The Club, which is based on the events of the Pulse Club in Orlando, the LGBT club, and this by director Rachel Bellumini. And Intruder Alert, which is actually Heather Fraley's first film that she actually wrote. So those have been three very different projects, but like each one's amazing on their own. And like I'm just we already finished filming all three, so now we have to wait to actually see them on screen, hopefully by October or November.
yeah. And mentioning Heather Fraley, I saw she has what, two production companies now. Is this part of two production companies?
Yes, she's
Yeah.
she's working with her manager Preston Walden
Right,
for
right.
Domain Pictures, which I'm actually involved on some of their projects as well, Carver Cove and As We Fall.
Okay,
So
yeah.
those really very interesting projects that are gonna be filming from him, and she's also with Shad Shaver, which
Okay,
is the writer, and pretty much I'm guessing he's gonna be the director as well for Blood Money, which I
okay.
also have a role on that film. But that one, there's still no, as far as I know, there's no dates selected yet for filming, but
Right.
that's one they is an action drama film that is it's very interesting to, and
Right.
I'm hoping to actually, um, portray this new character because I'm gonna be
Right.
playing kind of like an abusive person. I don't want to give more much details, but it's gonna be a
Right.
very very interesting but different role for me to do.
Okay. So it's gonna be different from some of the other stuff that you've been a part of. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. And when she was on the show, she talked about that show. So that's another movie that I'm looking forward to is the Blood Money.
yeah.
Um, yeah, that looks like it's gonna be interesting too. So cool. So now if my audience wants to get in touch with you and follow you and figure out or learn more about some of the projects that you're on, what's the best way for them to do that?
I will say Instagram. My Instagram is JR Montes 787.
Okay.
Sorry, J Montes 787,
Okay.
and on Facebook by the same name, Jonathan Montes. I'm a very positive person. I believe
Right.
that like there's enough negativity out there, so I'm always posting
Right.
like whatever I post, whether it's acting or fitness related, because that's kind of like my other thing that I do a lot.
Mhm.
Um, like I'm always putting something positive on it,
Right.
and I I'm a firm believer that positivity attracts the same.
Right.
And whatever I'm posting something there, and I'm putting it in English and Spanish because like I have a
Right.
lot of
Right.
people in my that are from Puerto Rico. They don't necessarily speak English, or
Right.
from here that they don't speak Spanish. So I like that whatever I put out there, everyone
Right.
can understand what I'm saying. And but
Yeah.
mostly I'm just putting like the pictures, or like when we're on set, from the different projects that
Right.
I already told you about. There's other projects that I have been involved too. Larson from director Pran Agarwal.
Right.
um, uh, uh, I got it by my really good friend and Will Urbina. Beautiful Pain from Ashley Wooden.
Oh,
I'm gonna be in a spin-off from DC Batman. It's kind of like a fan film
okay.
called The Dark Knight Chronicles by Jake Schwartz.
Oh wow.
Um, so there's a lot coming still this year, and I have maybe like two or three projects already on 2023. So like I'm really excited about those opportunities, and just you know continue sending auditions every single day, trying to find my next role, and trying to meet new people. That's kind of like the thing here: meeting new people, connecting, networking.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm kind of glad you brought up your Facebook post with the positive messages that you send. I was gonna tell you, mention that as well. In the middle of all the stuff you're doing, doing back to back films and all that stuff. One of the things that I really like about your face, you're posting something positive. You're putting it, like you said, in English and in Spanish, um,
Yeah.
and you know, for you to take time out and from your day to do that each day, I think that's you know, it's incredible that you do that. It's amazing because
Uh,
that's one of the reasons too that I like that I wanted to bring you on, and because you're just such a positive person, and you kind of embody what we try to show on our with our show, so thank you for doing that.
no, I mean it's an honor that I honestly post what I post. I do it because I with the expectation that someone, maybe at least one person, like if somebody
Right.
needs to hear something positive on their day, I hope that at least that can bring a smile, or
Right.
something that they can think, you know what, yeah, I might need to change something. And
Right.
sometimes I even post it for myself, because like I may need like kind of like a slap on my face, like, hey, wake up, you gotta change the way you're thinking about it. And
Right.
sometimes I will post something for me.
Right.
um, One thing that I don't use social media for is putting my problems out there, my personal life.
Right.
um, Not because I don't necessarily want to, but I don't use it to post negative stuff, or like
Right.
but that's my decision, not because I don't, not nothing else, nothing bad about it, but I just like sharing something positive with the world. That's kind of like
Right.
what I use it for, and to keep in contact with the the network of people that I've connected with in the film industry, and as well with family members or colleagues from school or stuff like that.
Right. Well, and thank you for doing that too, because it's that's one of the reasons I come check your site, and just it's just cool to see that that positivity and the things that you're doing. So thank you for doing that.
No, no, it's like I said, like it's a pleasure, and what, having this this interview now with you,
Right.
I've had at till this day I've had kind of like very few interviews, and I think the first one that I did was with Proslacker Sean, and after that one, like the next interviews, the ones that I felt more confident talking about myself, because like on the first one, let me tell you, I was
Right.
and I mean, I actually loved the interview. Like Sean actually made it so smooth, but
Right.
now here, talking with you
Right.
is kind of like I feel completely different. Like I feel like so much confident, like talking about my life, talking about the
Right.
projects, and so again, just little things that happen that you kind of like, the first one surprises you, but then the next one you get better. But and also I've had the opportunity to kind of like meet people that have interviewed me
Right.
as well. Like I know that you're not in in the same time zone, but at
Right.
least I hope that at least at some point we're gonna be able to at least meet each other in person, either even if it's on
Right.
a set or something, that we're able to do so.
Right.
um, I actually met Proslager Sean. He was the first person who interviewed me, and
Right.
he's actually been going now to sets, helping out like on the
Oh
different
wow.
projects that we've been working on. Like super reliable person,
Right.
uh, and it's funny, like the way you connect. Again, you connect with people, you put yourself out there, and
Right.
the asset, like the community is the asset, like the people. That's
Right.
what we gotta focus on. Like
Right.
you have a question, put it out there.
Right. And that's kind of what I like too about having the social media and the access that we have now, is because you know before it would be hard for me in Texas to talk to you guys out there in Florida. Now it's just we have the access where we can actually get to know each other, and share our visions and our common goals, and it's just I'm amazed that of all the people I've gotten to meet and through this process, and the friends I've gotten to make from it. So, and the stories that I've gotten to hear, and it's incredible. Like I said, at the beginning of the show, I'm about to do a collaboration with a another YouTuber in Australia next week. So we're actually going to do we're going to combine our shows, and we're on two different continents. We're gonna combine it and be able to do one show and share our vision with everybody. So which is completely amazing. So they're like 15 hours ahead of us. So
That's something that you couldn't do a couple of years ago, and now the fact that we're
yeah,
able to do so, and like you're putting yourself out there to a different community that probably doesn't know who you are, as well as
right,
he's doing the same, and putting himself on with your community.
right,
That's again creating those connections, getting to meet new people, and with the hopes of expanding, and having you being recognized in all those countries, and like seeing, hey, this guy is doing
right,
interviews, like what else is he bringing? I mean, oh, who's the next actor he's interviewing? Like that helps pretty much everyone that you're interviewing as well. So like personally, I appreciate that from you, and so I thank you, because it's only gonna help the people that are on my side,
right,
to put our faces on a different location. So
right.
thank you for that.
Not a problem. And again, thank you so much for being on the show, man. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you. And like I said, I'm looking forward to these projects coming out. I wish you the best of luck. And I'll be following you. We're gonna put the links to your social media at the bottom of the interview, so people can keep following you guys, and reach out to you guys. And so if they have questions or whatnot, they can get a hold of you guys, and be able to ask you guys and communicate with you guys. So,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was my pleasure to interview you.
No, it was my pleasure actually being here. So thank you for the invitation, and hopefully we can kind of like do this again
Right.
down the
Yeah,
road
we
and
will.
kind of like, hey, what's going on? Let's catch
Right.
up. What you've been up to, and maybe we can kind of like come back here and kind of like have a little chat. Maybe I can bring somebody else with me on the interview. We gotta
Oh
getting
yeah,
three
definitely. Yeah.
people together.
So, and you will talk about some of the new project you'll be on, and yeah, I'd love to have you come back on the show. So,
I appreciate
but
it, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you again for so much for being on the show.
No, thank you, thank you for the opportunity.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, check out Jonathan Montez's social media. Go check him out. Look at all the stuff that he's working on. Reach out to him. Tell him that if you get to see some of this stuff, just tell him how much you appreciate what he's doing as well. So until next week, remember you are uniquely designed with the purpose, and always keep moving forward. Peace.
Yeah.